afternoon. I'm Shirley Jenwright, President of Fairfax County, Virginia NAACP, and welcome to our portion of the Financial Freedom Campaign sponsored by the National NAACP. We have members of our panel, myself, Shirley Jenwright,
Charles Summers,
Fred Lennick,
Edwin Henderson,
and we will be discussing different subjects pertaining to financial freedom. I will begin by discussing preparing yourself for your last rites and the day that the Lord will call you home. One of the things I think is extremely important is that we prepare our kids and our family by preparing in advance your obituary. Oftentimes, we have children who don't have the knowledge or the information needed to plan your funeral. You should have your expenses in place, whether or not you want to be cremated, where you want to be buried, and possibly have the insurance in place to do that. Also, when you have your funeral, you should have plans on where you want to be buried. Most times our children, again, do not have that knowledge. But it's extremely important that we have in place the finances through an insurance plan or through savings that will cover those expenses, that you can actually rest in peace.
Charles Summers, I'd like to talk to you about caregiving. Most people think that the only people that you take care of are older people. That's not true. I went to a seminar and for caregivers. And the moderator said, how many people are taking care of parents? Probably 30% raised their hands. Then how many are taking care of spouses? Probably another 30% raised their hands. The one that I was most surprised about were people that said, how many are taking care of children? Probably 25% raised their hands. And the last, how many are taking care of significant others? And quite a few people raised their hands. So you can find yourself a caregiver for many generations. Personally, I took care of my mother. My mother died when she was 2 months shy of being 101. I took care of her for the last 17 years of her life. I took care of my wife. She was a cancer victim. And I took care of my daughter who was still alive, but she had a major operation. So all three of those were different. Some of the things that you need to consider when you start talking about caregiving are the legal aspects. What legal rights do you have? And you need to get that in writing. The person needs to provide whether they want resuscitation or not, just a couple of living wills. The other thing is, who's going to pay for this? Are they going to pay for it? Insurance going to pay for it? Are you going to pay for it? Another thing are the religious aspects. Who's going to take care of their soul? And then there's the social aspect of it. Do you need someone to come in and talk about the social aspects? And finally, what does or can government provide? Some counties, some cities, some states, and the federal government all have programs that deal with this. You may or may not qualify. So those are some of the things that you should consider if you're faced with caregiving. And all of us probably will be faced with caregiving.
Well, I want to continue on what Charles talked about caregiving. You have to prepare for your own caregiving, you know, as you go along. I just found out, here I am in the 80s, and I went to get a physical test, and they say my memory impairment is weakening. And then I never thought about that. You know, I figured I had my children, they could take care of me, and I could take care of myself. But now I see that I have to watch for this because it's a serious thing. So you have to start planning as to how do you want to be cared for. Whether you want to go to an institution, or do you have the children who can do it? Do you have the funds that can do it? And then also physically how you can change or improve or retard the destruction of your brain cells and what have you. So I've been working on that, and there are things you can do, but you have to know about it. You can't wait, and you can't depend on your children that much. And you don't want to depend on them. They have other things than to take care of some old guy there who doesn't even like, yes, I do like him. Yeah. But I was content in retirement, doing well, and felt real good. And then all of a sudden, I discovered, whoops, you know, the old system is failing, and I better take some action. So I think this is an important issue you have to look at, taking care of yourself and planning for the future, because I think it probably happens to a high percentage of us. You know, some go down fast, and that's it. Thanks a lot.
Hi. I'm Edwin Henderson. I'd like to talk about the importance of having and keeping a good credit, keeping good credit. Our ability to function in this society a lot of times is based on our ability to receive credit or to deal with credit cards and credit bureaus. The number one thing is to be proactive and to make sure that you pay your bills when you say you're going to pay them. And if you can't, to make sure that communication is made so that you're able to contact your creditors and let them know that you're not going to be able to make a payment and when you will be able to. Some jobs are even predicated on whether you have a good credit rating or not. So having a good credit rating is very important in the society that we live today.